Hi guys, Laura Pollak here. So nice to have you, and like everybody else in the world who's locked up and quarantined and social distancing, I'm trying my hand at this new video teaching program. I'm going to be doing some YouTube videos and we'll be getting on Patreon very shortly. I wanted to introduce myself. I am originally from Detroit. We now live in North Carolina and very active in the pastel community, though I'll paint in any medium or any subject that comes my way. I've started in landscape and in watercolor, and lately I've become more known for my abstracts. I've always wondered why my graphic design background, I used to have an ad agency, never showed up in my painting, and finally it has emerged. So I'm doing more and more abstracts. And I hope you'll join me on this journey, and please forgive my foibles because I'm really not good at this and I'm brand new. So I hope to see you soon. I'm going to be doing a quick video on how to prep a piece of paper. I usually use Uart 320 and tinted black so I can get a really good glow on it. So thanks for joining me. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hi everyone, I'm back, and I'm going to be cutting a piece of Uart 320, which is my favorite paper. You can see the designation on the back right here, 320. It's a sanded paper. It really holds the pastel that I put on it. It's the one that I've settled on the most, and I really happen to like it a lot. Certain things are not good to paint on this paper. For instance, you don't want to paint a really fine, delicate portrait on this. But for the abstracts that I do, this seems to work really well. One of the other tools that I've got with me here is this Logan mat cutter. And to be honest with you, it's one of my go-to tools on a daily basis. What I use it for is, besides cutting mats, I cut my paper on it, and I also can cut glass with it because I do all my own framing. That said, I don't use, obviously, the X-Acto blade that's in here, or the straight edge blade. What I do use is a glass cutter, and then I use this bar, which is weighted, to hold the glass in place. So now what I'm going to do is reposition the camera so you can see what it looks like for me to cut this paper, and then I'm going to show you how to mount it. On the Logan mat cutter, right here, I don't know if you can see it, there is a measuring edge. So I always get an exact cut when I do this. I put a piece of mat board or cardboard here to protect the blade. I don't know whether I have a good sharp blade in here or not. I'm hoping so. What I do is I line it up here with this groove over here, which is my 0, and I measure it first to see how big this paper really is. So this is 21 inches here, the other edge is 20. So all I need to do is cut this down to 16, because right now that's the size that I've been working at in a series. So I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to have everything line up, and then I'm going to take this bar over and flatten everything down. Here I pull out the knob, pull it up. It looks like it's a pretty good blade. They go really dull very, very quickly because the sanded paper. You have to adjust it a hair, and then I push it all the way up to the edge. I click down here, and then I pull. Now this is a big investment. A lot of people don't have room for it. Right now I'm in my garage to give me some extra space. But voila, I have a really nice cut with no problem. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to mount this paper. Way back from my graphic design days, when we used to do layouts and key lines, I learned of all different types of adhesives. This one in particular has been a great one for artists, and I don't know if this is backwards on the screen, but it's Scotch 568 Positionable Mounting Adhesive Liner. This is the liner, this is not the actual product. And you can buy this on several different locations online. I generally get mine at Amazon. It's relatively expensive, but it's way better than using spray adhesive, which is terrible for your lungs. You have to do it outside. It's not good for the environment. This is basically the same type of thing. If you can imagine, it's the adhesive, but it's on a piece of paper already. And what you do is adhere it to the back of your sanded paper, and then I'll show you a few tricks on how that goes. This might be a little laborious. I'm going to cut off this extra piece so it's easy for you to see. You need a good X-Acto blade just to cut through it here. I'm just going to put this off to the side. What I do, and this is one of those self-healing mats, so I can cut directly on it and not ruin my table. You unroll it. If I were to stick my finger on it, the adhesive would come right up onto my finger. What I'll do here is line up my corners. And let me pull this over in screen a little bit better. So I line up my corners right there and my edges. And I gently press it down onto the paper. It immediately starts to adhere. Then I simply cut against it. And it's very simple to do. Then I'll cut the other edge. And I have found a few tricks on how to make this stick really well. I've tried all different kinds of things. Like I mentioned, spray adhesive. I even used my ATG gun. One time I was at a show. I had used ATG tape to go crisscross on the back and do a big X. I came into a show to note my painting had fallen inside the frame and the mat. I was relatively mortified, so I said, nope, not doing that again. Anyway, this will come off here. And I roll up the rest of it, I put it back away. And you can use all the scraps. There is no waste. Then what you do is you turn the whole thing over. The red is from my table where I was painting. It comes with this type of squeegee. It's just a little rubber squeegee. And you start just like you were doing a canvas. From the center, you go out. You get all the air bubbles. I'm using quite a bit of pressure. And I'm going out to the edges. I'll turn it around so that I'm pushing away from me here. And here's my little secret trick. I keep my fingernails sort of long, and I scratch really hard along the edges. That way I know it adheres very, very well. And then I actually also give it a good back rub all the way up and down. That has been the trick that has worked. For anybody who has tried this before and half of it comes up, it's extremely upsetting and irritating. You're going, oh darn, I thought I did it right. So now I'm going to start to pull off that backing, and you're going to see that it's not coming up with it. If it does, you just sort of put it back down to allow some more pressure. Like on this edge, I don't like that it's coming up a little bit. There we go. But in general, it's doing a pretty good job, and it's staying down. Here I've got a bubble that's coming up. And I really welcome any questions that you have when you see this, if it doesn't make any sense. I saved this liner paper because I use it on the front side as well. You can use what they gave you with it, but that works just as well. What I'm going to do now is go find my foam core that's cut to the same size already, and I'm going to show you how to mount it. Here I have a 16 by 20, probably, I don't even know how thick. I don't really care that much about how thick it is, but it's a foam core piece that I have pre-cut. And I'm just going to wipe off any dust. We've been cutting wood out here in the garage. Make sure it's relatively clean, because if there are bumps under it on this surface, it will show up on the paper itself. So what I'm going to do now is just line up the corners on the edges here as best I can. Even if it's not totally perfect, it won't matter, because this edge, see for instance here, it's going to have some extra foam core at the top. This edge is going to either get cut off or go under the frame anyway. And I might lift it to split the difference. And why they call it repositionable is for exactly this reason. It allows you to move it before it is totally adhered down. And I have really come to love this adhesive. Let's say I'm not in the mood to paint, just I'm having a bad day, or let's say the sun has gone down and it's dark in the studio. What's really nice is you can mount several of these sheets of paper and be ready for the next day. Now, they do provide this liner so that you can put it over your good surface, over the sanded portion, and then take that squeegee once again and go from the middle out. I'm putting a lot of pressure on this because I want it nice and even. And to give you a really nice surface to paint on. It won't be too flimsy. You don't have to tape it to a board. It'll give you enough stamina that it'll stand on your easel without a backer board. And then I pick it up, and just like I did with the adhesive itself, I'll turn it over. One thing that I would like to caution you about is that if you do an alcohol wash, which I will be demonstrating shortly, try not to let it go over the edge and soak under. It will have a tendency to lift the paper off the foam core, and it'll also have a tendency to make it ripple. And you really don't want that. You don't want to be fighting that surface. But normally, this gives a very nice, even surface for you to joyfully paint on. And then you're all set. So there we have it, a really nicely mounted 16 by 20, no big deal. And it's ready to go. So that's it. Very simple, using a 3M product to prep a board. Hope you enjoyed that. Stay tuned, and my next video will be how to tint it black to get that incredible glow on your abstract or even your landscape painting. See you soon. Bye-bye.